The story of how a small island nation off the coast of Europe came to rule over the vast Indian subcontinent is a tale of ambition, strategy, and ruthlessness. It begins, innocuously enough, with the arrival of the East India Company in the early 17th century. Seeking spices and riches, these early traders established their first factory in Surat in 1612. This marked the beginning of a long and complex relationship between Britain and India. At first, the company's presence was limited to coastal trading posts. They focused on commerce, negotiating with local rulers for trading rights. The Mughal Empire, then at its zenith under Emperor Akbar, held sway over most of the subcontinent. The company operated under the Mughals' shadow, content with their profitable trade in textiles, spices, and other goods. However, the decline of Mughal power in the 18th century created a power vacuum in India. The once mighty empire fragmented into smaller competing states. The East India Company, with its growing military strength and ambitions, saw an opportunity to expand its influence beyond trade. This shift from commerce to conquest would have profound consequences for India's future. The company began to exploit the political instability, playing rival factions against each other. They strategically forged alliances and intervened in local disputes, gradually increasing their military presence. The stage was set for a dramatic shift in power, with the East India Company poised to seize control of the subcontinent. The year 1757 marked a turning point in British involvement in India. The Battle of Plassey, fought on the banks of the Bhagirathi River, pitted the East India Company's forces against the Nawab of Bengal, Siraj-ud-Dowlah. The Nawab, suspicious of the company's growing power, had ordered them to halt their fortifications. The company, under the command of Robert Clive, defied the order, leading to a decisive confrontation. The Battle of Plassey was a testament to the company's cunning and ruthlessness. Clive, through a combination of military strategy and shrewd diplomacy, secured victory. He exploited divisions within the Nawab's ranks, ensuring the defection of key commanders during the battle. The Nawab, betrayed and defeated, was captured and executed. This victory had far-reaching consequences. The company gained control of Bengal, a region renowned for its wealth and resources. The fertile plains of Bengal became a source of immense revenue for the company, fueling their further expansion. The Battle of Plassey marked the beginning of the East India Company's transformation from a trading company to a major military and political power in India. The company's victory at Plassey sent shockwaves throughout India. It signaled the vulnerability of Indian rulers to European military might and ambition. The British, once humble traders, were now a force to be reckoned with. The Battle of Plassey cast a long shadow over India, marking the beginning of British dominance over the subcontinent. Following their victory at Plassey, the East India Company embarked on a systematic expansion of its territory and influence. They exploited internal conflicts and rivalries among Indian rulers, employing a combination of diplomacy and military force to expand their control. By the mid-19th century, the company had become the paramount power in India, ruling over a vast territory stretching from Bengal in the east to Punjab in the west. The company's rule was marked by significant administrative changes. They established a centralized system of governance, replacing the fragmented rule of local rulers. The company introduced new legal codes and revenue systems, aiming to streamline administration and maximize revenue collection. The permanent settlement introduced in 1793 transformed land ownership patterns in Bengal, creating a new class of landlords loyal to the company. The company's rule was also a period of economic exploitation. They used their control over India's resources to enrich themselves and their shareholders back in Britain. Indian industries, particularly textiles, suffered under the company's policies, which favored British manufactured goods. The drain of wealth from India to Britain during this period had a devastating impact on the Indian economy. Despite their growing power, the company faced resistance from various quarters. Local rulers, resentful of their loss of autonomy, rose up in rebellion. The company's own sepoys, Indian soldiers employed in their army, harbored grievances over pay, conditions, and religious sensitivities. These simmering tensions would eventually erupt in a major uprising that would shake the foundations of company rule in India. Section 4. The Sepoy Mutiny, a rebellion that shook the empire. The year 1857 witnessed a cataclysmic event that would forever alter the relationship between Britain and India, the Sepoy Mutiny. This uprising, sparked by a seemingly minor issue of rifle cartridges greased with animal fat, quickly escalated into a widespread rebellion against company rule. The mutiny exposed the deep-seated resentment and anger that had been brewing beneath the surface of British control. The introduction of the new Enfield rifle with cartridges rumoured to be greased with cow and pig fat proved to be the proverbial last straw. For the Sepoys, who were predominantly Hindu and Muslim, handling these cartridges was a violation of their religious beliefs. The company's failure to address these concerns fueled a sense of anger and betrayal among the Sepoys. The mutiny began in Meerut, near Delhi. When Sepoys refused to use the controversial cartridges, the rebellion quickly spread like wildfire, engulfing large parts of northern and central India. Sepoys, joined by local rulers and peasants, rose up against the company, targeting symbols of British authority. The mutiny was marked by acts of both incredible bravery and horrific brutality on both sides. The British were slow to react to the scale and intensity of the uprising. It took them months of fierce fighting to regain control of the lost territories. The rebellion was eventually crushed with brutal force, leaving a trail of bloodshed and bitterness in its wake. The Sepoy Mutiny marked a turning point in British rule, exposing its vulnerabilities and leading to significant changes in the administration of India. Section 5, from Company Rule to Crown Rule, the birth of the British Raj. The Sepoy Mutiny of 1857 sent shockwaves through the British establishment. The scale and ferocity of the uprising exposed the fragility of company rule and led to calls for greater government control over Indian affairs. In 1858, the British government passed the Government of India Act, effectively ending the East India Company's reign and transferring control of India to the British Crown. This marked the beginning of the British Raj, a period of direct British rule over the Indian subcontinent. Queen Victoria was proclaimed Empress of India, symbolizing the complete assertion of British sovereignty. The Governor-General of India was now answerable directly to the British Parliament, ushering in an era of greater bureaucratic control and centralization. The British Raj was characterized by a period of administrative reforms and consolidation. The British sought to strengthen their hold over India, implementing policies aimed at maintaining law and order, expanding infrastructure, and integrating the Indian economy into the global British Empire. The Indian Civil Service, or ICS, staffed primarily by Britons, became the backbone of this new administration, overseeing the day-to-day governance of the vast and diverse subcontinent. However, the transition to Crown rule did little to address the underlying grievances of the Indian population. The British Raj, though more organized and efficient than company rule, remained a system of foreign domination. The exploitation of India's resources continued, and the political and economic marginalization of Indians remained a source of simmering discontent. The seeds of Indian nationalism, sown during the mutiny, began to sprout, paving the way for a new chapter in the struggle for freedom. Section 6, the rise of nationalism, seeds of dissent and early resistance. The latter half of the 19th century witnessed the emergence of a new phenomenon in India nationalism. The shared experience of British rule, coupled with growing awareness of Western ideas of liberty and self-determination, fostered a sense of unity and a desire for self-rule among Indians. This nascent nationalism found expression through various social and political movements, laying the groundwork for the long struggle for independence. Early nationalist leaders, many of whom were educated in Western institutions, began to articulate the aspirations of this emerging India. They challenged the legitimacy of British rule, demanding greater political representation and an end to discriminatory policies. Dadabhai Naoroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and Ferozeshah Shah Mehta were among the prominent figures who advocated for greater autonomy within the framework of the British Empire. The Indian National Congress, or INC, founded in 1885, provided a platform for these nationalist aspirations. Initially moderate in its demands, the Congress advocated for greater Indian participation in the government and administrative services. They used petitions, delegations, and public meetings to voice their concerns, hoping to influence British policy through dialogue and persuasion. However, the British government's response to these demands was slow and often inadequate. The partition of Bengal in 1905, a move widely seen as an attempt to divide and rule, further fueled nationalist sentiments. The partition sparked widespread protests and boycotts, demonstrating the growing strength and reach of the nationalist movement. The stage was set for a new generation of leaders who would adopt more assertive tactics in their quest for independence.